Okay, guys, this is another review of a student game. This was sent to me by Gonthas, one of my students from, I think, Argentina is where Gonthas lives. And he played this game. I think he played this game in one of the OGS tournaments, and he said, can you just have a look and let me know kind of your thoughts on what went wrong? So I've been through this game record once. I had a quick look just to get a feel for what was happening in the game, and I'll just go through and do a little bit more detail. I'll keep this as quick as I can, because like most games of Go, the big things happen in the opening, and then as we move into the middle game, we're consolidating what happened in the opening, and sometimes then at the end game we're trying to kind of squeeze some final points out of the game, out of the match, to squeak over the line. But a lot of what's happening, particularly for DD, double-digit queues and single-digit queues, and I guess all the way through the game, is stuff in the opening. So let's take a look at the game. Let's jump right in. So Gonthas is white here, and we're looking at the opening moves. So what's the rating of these? Gonthas is 9, his opponent is 7. It was an even game, so his opponent was maybe a little bit stronger. This is the black and white thing was because of a tournament rather than ranking. This is all pretty normal. This is all pretty normal. When Gonthas plays white on the 3-4 on Q3 down in the bottom right hand corner, he's expecting to make a Shimari. I can't at R5. I can't see another reason for doing that, and so black approaches immediately, doing a high approach. I think the high approach, particularly with the white stone here up here, leads to attachment Joseki, which Gonthas does, which I think is correct. Black Hanes, white draws back. That's why we call this the attached drawback Joseki. And black connects the shape, his cutting point there, and white extends. I think this extension is a little bit too wide. It's slightly greedier than Joseki, and the reason we think that is because it actually gives black this move. If black Hane is here, white Hane, black, white, and then black gets this kind of shape. It's a strong shape for black. If white just does the normal, what we could consider the Joseki extension, then all of that goes away, and black's only option is to develop on this side. Anyway, what happened in the game? So white jumped a little bit far. It's a little bit far. It's not a critical error by all means, but it's a little bit far. It's the sort of thing that people are doing now post AI, because AI can get away with this. But that's because AI is a superhuman god that understands all aspects of the Go board. Us mortal humans have to do something else. So black extends. A black extends high. The Q10 stone doesn't give black much of a base and leaves black vulnerable to this kind of approach, where black would come down, white would come here, black might Hane, white, black. You have to say of these exchanges, in terms of points, black is getting, what are we saying here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 or so points, but white is getting these kind of points. So these exchanges are not good for black. What are we getting here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30 points. It's almost double the points in the corner. So these kind of exchanges we should look for in the game, where we get an immediate points advantage. And actually, if you look at the shapes on the right hand side, if we include for white another 10, 12, say 15 points, then white is hugely ahead from these exchanges from black's initial approach. And this is the kind of thing that we're looking for in a game of Go in the opening. So let's go back to the opening. So white approached, low approach on the 3-4. Not wrong, but because of the presence of this stone, if I were playing white in this game, I would look for this kind of Joseki. Black extends, and then white, this stone, now becomes a development from here and an extension from the corner. This starts to get a really, really nice shape for white. So that's what I would look for there. If you come in low like this, you can expect to get pincered. and that will weaken this stone here. So this is the Shusaku Kosumi, this defense. It's quite a nice defense. I would expect white to play somewhere around at h17 and give a base to that stone. Otherwise, black's next move will be in this kind of area, that kind of area, to attack the single white stones. That white stone needs some support. Excuse me. The white stone needs some support. I don't like this one very much. I don't think it's stable enough, and I would keep it much simpler than that. I'd just make a simple base. And now if black takes the corner, you can take some points. If black doesn't take the corner, if black plays here, then you can slide, and then we have an even Joseki. That's what's going on. But the urgent move for white in all of this right now is to attack this shape, to attack this black shape, because this black shape has been left weak, and white's approach move, rather than all of these, is to come down on the outside and knight move away from the center. And by the center, this is the center point of this shape, and so you want to be a double knight move away from a double jump away from that center, to either force black to come down here in this shape, in which case white, so if black comes down, then white blocks out. And again, we're seeing this point exchange where black is getting very little in here and white is getting a great deal in here and here. And these are the kind of exchanges that we like to make early in the game. Okay, let's go back to what was going on. So I think that's a little bit high. And indeed, black now stabilizes his stones on this side, and this is the opportunity is now lost, and the opportunity is lost for white to do anything about the black shape on the right hand side. And still these stones are almost not connected and not stable. Let's just look to remind ourselves, if white had done something like this, and then black had tanuki, and it's the tanuki that we're looking for. Black had done something like this, then white gets this invasion, and this is the key invasion. And if black comes on top, white comes here, black blocks, white extends, black, white. And now we see that black has got a wall here of stones, but white's got all the points. Black's got nothing out of this exchange. So this shape, and I have got other videos on this, is very vulnerable to attack. It's very vulnerable to attack, but you need to play this approach move first so that you've got stones on either side. If we consider this the vital point, then we need to have stones here, one on this side and this one on this side, so that we can exploit that opportunity. Okay, there's a long explanation there, Gonthas, but that's what I think is missing at this point. Black is stable, and your shape, your stones are still weak. You've got a solid group in the lower right, but your other stones are still weak. So you develop that, which is developing the top side, which is good. Black slides into the corner to consolidate the right. You block the corner, and then black takes a big point on the left. Where's white going to play next? This gap here, and by gap I mean this gap here, is still very big. It's inviting a black stone, but to go and play there, for white to play something like this now, means that black gets this kind of extension, and then black is just better off, because this piece of territory here is about the same as that. This is now bigger than the corner, the black side on the right, and black's got all of this. So this would be a bad exchange for white. So white comes in. That's quite correct move. But I would be worried, if I were you, about this space, about the gap between these two groups of stones here. And black pincers, and I think the pincer's quite right. I think it's making another weak stone. And this is something I talk about and tell my students a lot. When we first start with this game, we think that Go is actually about territory, and it's not. Territory is simply the way we keep score, in the same way that goals are the way we keep score in soccer or tries in rugby or any other sport. They're simply the way of keeping score. They're not what the game is about. If you take the example of soccer or football, what football is about is the dynamic interplay of two teams. It's about balancing individual strengths with team strengths, about having a balance of abilities and competencies within that team. And yes, of course, at the end of the day, we measure who won and lost through the number of goals that they scored. But that's not what the game is about. And actually Go is about the interaction of strong and weak groups of stones. It's about the dynamic interplay of these stones on the board and the spaces between them. And at the end of the match, at the end of the session, we decide who's won and lost by counting territory. But that is not what the game is about. It's about this dynamic interplay. And now White has another weak stone to look after, the stone on F3. And so White jumps up and Black attacks. Notice now, Black is making territory, White is merely living. The only way to back on this for White is White has got to attack this stone and make some profit. But it's not an easy stone to get at because it's got so much freedom. It can run in both of these directions and just split this lower side, and White gets nothing out of these exchanges, whereas Black's getting territory, solid territory in the lower left, and already has territory on the right because of this missed opportunity. Okay, so White does attack and Black says, I'm not going to die. White comes up and Black harness, and now this Black stone here is starting to weaken. This one, and this is an example of a push. White's push here actually weakens these two stones here, because after the Black Kosumi, which gets Black neatly out, White has now got to go and fix this problem. Black pushes through, and interestingly, Black gives up the corner. Black gives the corner to White in exchange for this thickness, this thick wall. And so Black is expecting to make some territory now in this area of the board for compensation for the points lost in this area of the board. And actually, if he pulls that off, then that's a good compensation. And I think Black's plan is okay, and I think it's a good plan because of the weakness of this shape, because Black can pressure that shape to enlarge that territory. So White threatens to join under. Black simply comes out. Now we can see that Black is building. Black is now working with this territory plan. That's Black's primary plan here, because otherwise Black would have used this stone to come down. And White sees obviously what's going on and tries to disrupt that, and Black secures more territory on the left, slightly smaller. White's made a reduction, White makes another reduction, and then Black starts to attack the junction between White's groups. And by White's groups we go, this is one group, this is a second group, and this is a third group, and those three groups are currently all isolated from each other, and Black wants to get some kind of wedge shape that keeps these and these and these all apart from each other. So White defends the corner and the points, and then Black jumps in between. Notice this is the point that we talked about way back 20 moves ago as a vulnerability for White. White harnesses on that stone. I would expect Black to give that stone up lightly and just jump out into the middle. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly this stone is not an important stone for Black, and it's not a territorial stone. It doesn't do any work, and the vital point isn't there. So White comes out to connect the middle stones to stop Black separating. But again, notice the dynamics of what's happening here. White has got effectively what we call a string of beads. It's a line of stones that are connected. They've got plenty of liberties. They're unlikely to die, but they're delivering no territory. After that exchange, Black will have to do something with its stones in the middle here to make sure that they don't die, but it's got a couple of directions to run. Or the other great move for Black, the point move, is that one, just to seal those dozen points in the corner and add them to Black's total. But let's see, yeah, Black jumps out. I would have expected that. Because of the Black doesn't want to lose these stones. Losing these stones would be a disaster for Black, because it would give White this kind of territory which would equalize this kind of territory, and the game would be even. So white blocks here to stop black playing a knight move cut. But black's got two directions. We can see that black, could come in this direction to this stone, but it equally can come in this direction. So this is going to be a very difficult fight for white. And meanwhile, white stones aren't contributing. So white plays here. If it was me playing as black now, I think I'd say I can survive the middle. I want to make sure that I've got the points on the left-hand side. So I'd play something like that. But black wants to disrupt the top. White jumps into the corner, black threatens the cutting point, white comes down, black, white, black. That's quite a nice Tetsuji. Which way does white connect? And then black connects. And so white stones can probably just about scrabble for life in the corner and make two eyes, but black's position on the top is much stronger. Yeah. And white is pressing black down now, so this is okay. This is a scrabble of a fight. Is black trying to kill white? Yeah, black's really trying to kill white, which is a bit over aggressive. This kind of moves, you just take the territory, just let it have it. It's not a problem. You know, white's played a lot of stones now for very few points. Yeah, there. Now looking at the game now, what are we seeing? White's got a dozen points here. All of these white stones in the centre are contributing 0 points, at best 3, and that's a lot of stones for 3 points. Given that in the corner there are 5 points. What's black going to do? Black really needs to play somewhere like here to bank those points, and somewhere like here to blank those. But white's only way of making some points is to play out somewhere on the top, will give some points, and on the bottom. But this is going badly wrong now for white, and the badly wrong is the strength of this group here. So black, white, black's making shape, and white's alive, and black's making sure that there's not much territory here. This is a real cut and thrust. This is real savage kind of fighting between the two of you. But again, let's look at the situation on the board. White's got no points. In fact, white's barely alive with eyes. Has white got 2 eyes on the top? Not quite. Can white? Yeah, white makes some shape. No. Yeah, white joins across to the other, and now we have a cove. We have a cove for life for white. That makes an eye. That's okay. So white gets away. So now, again, let's look and say all of these white stones here have contributed at best 2 or 3 points. White's way behind. Black's really dominating the game in terms of territory. Although the lower style is still good for white, but that's a huge investment by white for almost no points. Yeah, there's the cut, and that's the cut. And this is a good counter fight by Gonthas. I don't think you can do anything to hurt black here. These now these black stones are looking distinctly damaged. That was quite a nice sequence for you. I think black's lost the plot slightly, taking his eye off the ball. You have to be careful about the white cut and the liberty count. Quite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, black cuts that way and white connects. Now we liberty count. So here black has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liberties, like that. White has got 1, 2, 3, 4-5, but it's black's move. If black descends at S9, I think that fight's over. There it goes. Yeah, so black killed white, and this group here is now dead because of the exchange of liberties, so this white group is now dead, and this is really now game over. Black, white, black. None of this is going to work. None of this is going to work. Liberty count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. This can't work. So again, we're counting liberties over between the two groups. Black has got 1, 2, 3, 4. We can see them there. But white has got 1, 2, 3. And so even if white plays first, black kills first and it's all over. But white persists. This is not sensible. Makes an eye for this group. Has to be played out. Black blinds the eye. And I think that looks like a resign game. And it clearly is a resign game. This group here, this white group here, this one is cut and only has one eye. This group is dead. It's an overwhelming victory by black. So let's just have a quick look back. Where did it go wrong? Well, I think that two things went wrong. We have what we call standard sequences, and this is a standard sequence. This is not a great move. And now black is solid on the right hand side, and after these exchanges black's ahead on territory, and then white got into this fight where it had this group of stones snaking across the center that were contributing no points, 0 points to the game, and black was solid and alive here, solid here, solid here. White's only solid area of the board was the lower right, and the rest was fragile. Okay, I think that'll probably do for now. I'm going to come back and I'll take another look at the moves around this sequence, this Joseki, the side Joseki sequence, in another video, but that'll do. I hope that's helpful. I hope you got some insights from that about what was going on the board. We're looking at the meta game here, what's happening on the big scale rather than what's happening in the detail fighting. But we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon. Thanks from 10 minutes to go. Bye now.